UFC is the biggest MMA promoter event in the world, and it's not easy to be a UFC fighter. Most of those who come to the UFC have incredible histories, some even starting unbeaten. But over time, in their fights in the UFC, natural selection will determine who is the best among them. Many fighters have come and gone, but we only see a few of the best who have made it to the top of the peak. Khamzat Chimaev is one such fighter. As we know, the UFC never stops bringing out great fighters and equipping them with their respective hype. Many of the fans dubbed Khamzat Chimaev as the second Habib Nurmagomedov, but apparently Khamzat Chimaev doesn't really like being compared to Habib Nurmagomedov. Khamzat Chimaev himself does have a lot in common with the Eagle, except for the fact that he has more hitting power in his hands, compared to the Eagle. The hitting power was the speed and precision with which he was able to hit the target even more impressively. Khamzat Chimaev started his career 3-0 as an amateur with impressive results, then came on 6-0 in the same style as a pro. A common habit of stars is that, when someone special comes along, they are faced with a lot of tough demands in a short amount of time, and fighters tend to be unprepared for the situation. But Khamzat Chimaev managed to prove who he is. In the space of 66 days, Khamzat Chimaev has managed 3 fights in the UFC with winning results, where Dana White has also admitted that the UFC has given him top-class opponents. But besides that greatness, what other greatness did Khamzat Chimaev have that made him famous as he is today? Only one's full fight. As we know, Khamzat Chimaev has a total of 12 fights in which 11 of them he finished in the first round, and he only fought once during the full 3 rounds. That is because he has beaten his opponents in the first and second rounds. Even Khamzat Chimaev has finished his 3 opponents in the UFC in almost 2 months. In the first fight at UFC, Khamzat Chimaev landed 118 punches in the first round, before he then defeated his opponent John Phillips through choke darce in the second round. That way Khamzat Chimaev was able to land 1 hit in 2.5 seconds. If only Khamzat Chimaev had known that Ryan Jones' record was 120 strokes in 2017, Khamzat Chimaev might have hit 3 more before the bell rang for the end of the round. Then Khamzat Chimaev only needed the next 10 days to beat his second opponent in the UFC, and set his record to 2-0. 196-2. A historic year 2020. Maybe you are asking what the number 196-2 means. It is a number where Khamzat Chimaev is able to land his attacks 196 times, and only absorbs 2 hits in 1 round. This figure has made a new history in 2020, where in the modern era of the UFC, nothing can come close to Khamzat Chimaev's record on this one. The next record under Khamzat Chimaev is Phil Davis in 2010, where he has a ratio of 280-20, which is quite far from what Khamzat Chimaev has. Thus, Khamzat Chimaev has a striking accuracy stat of 59% and a takedown accuracy of 57%, offset by a significant strike absorbed per minute of 3.98 and a takedown defense of 100%, a number beyond our imagination. Outstanding free wrestling, sambo, BJJ and strikeability. And able to blend perfectly. You could say Chimaev is a complete fighter where he has a terrible ground fighting and striking. Aliskerov and Gerald were victims of Chimaev's horror, as both were rendered unconscious within 17 seconds of the start of the match. Moreover, when we see the ground fighting of Khamzat Chimaev, of course we will remember Habib Nurmagomedov, a fighter who has never been defeated in the UFC lightweight division. But Chimaev is more brutal, where his defense is able to overcome the opponent's counterattack when he takes down, so the opponent is completely helpless in the octagon ring. Unpredictable attack switch. This is one of the advantages of Khamzat Chimaev, where he is very skilled in ground fighting, as well as changing into a reliable striker when facing a fighter who wants to invite buying and selling punches in the octagon. Khamzat Chimaev's attacks are very unpredictable, which makes the opponent confused whether he wants to hit directly or wants to play ground and knock his opponent down and make a clean clinch. Able to beat COVID-19. Khamzat Chimaev had previously been scheduled to fight Leon Edwards in a high-profile UFC fight in January, but he was forced to withdraw due to complications caused by COVID-19, which resulted in him being flown to Las Vegas in February to receive medical treatment. Due to this situation, Khamzat Chimaev reportedly retired in a post on social media in early March. But finally Khamzat Chimaev managed to recover from COVID-19 and continued his training to undergo his next fight at UFC against Li Jingliang at UFC 267. Khamzat Chimaev has managed to beat COVID-19 and also beat Li Jingliang at UFC 267. Don't want to win points against Li Jingliang at UFC 267. In the fight against Li Jingliang, Khamzat Chimaev is not only aiming for a points win, but Khamzat Chimaev wants to finish off Li Jingliang, either through a submission win or a TKO victory. For Khamzat Chimaev, the fight was very meaningful, as it was Khamzat Chimaev's path to get duels against top fighters in the next UFC. As we know that Khamzat Chimaev at that time was not yet in the UFC top 15 welterweight list, while Li Jingliang was in 11th position in the UFC welterweight. The name Khamzat Chimaev has started to be discussed because he is considered to have a fighting style similar to the living legend of the UFC, Habib Nurmagomedov. So that's an overview of how great Khamzat Chimaev, the terrible newcomer to the UFC, is. Share your opinion in the comments column. Don't forget to like and share the video. Thanks for watching and see you in another video. See ya.